So I'm sitting here with David Jones, governor candidate for Maine. Big race this year. Getting to know him. We've never met. I think we talked about it before. I've listened to a lot of you. David Boyer's a friend of mine. David's in the house. I got to see you for the first time. I was impressed with the fact you don't use notes and still were able to answer questions. You did a great job.
Yeah.
And I comment again on how well everybody got along, because it seems to me in politics that's pretty unusual. You can see it now in the Senate race that people don't get along. They're slinging mud. But anyway, so where did you grow up, David?
I grew up in New Jersey. All right. I moved out of there when I was 17, went down to Florida, lived there for 25 years, and I've been here ever since.
So you left Jersey at 17?
17.
What part of Jersey?
Seaside.
Seaside.
Yeah, it's a shore town, surf town kind of town, boardwalk, stands. It was fun. I had a great time.
Part of the Jersey Shore?
That's exactly where it is. So
No kidding.
Jersey Shore is filmed in Seaside Heights, New Jersey. It's my town. It wasn't like that when I grew up. It was just, a lot more laid back, and, it was pretty much a surf town, summer town, sun and fun kind of place. It was a beautiful town to grow up in. Went to school with the same 11 kids from first to sixth grade. Yeah, it was great.
Good
place.
parents.
Oh, yeah.
What'd your parents do for it?
My mom was a waitress. My dad was a bartender, machinist. He was 12 years military.
Yeah.
He fought in Philippines, Korea, Japan.
Oof.
All right, all three of them. He was 4 years Four years Navy and 8 years Army.
So World War II guy in Korea?
Oh, yeah, World War II. Yeah, decorated, Bronze Star.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a crazy SOB. He was a good guy. Yeah.
And so you learned your patriotism from him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you're raised in a family, and, my grandfather was Italian. My mom's Italian, of course, and they came from Italy, and he said to me the happiest day of his life was when he became an American citizen and took his oath to be a citizen in English. And he would never speak Italian.
That was it, huh?
Only when he was mad at my grandmother he would talk. He didn't want me to understand what he was saying. But yeah, so he loved America. My family loved America. My father obviously served, and it was a great family. Back then people were, I think, were a lot more patriotic than they are today, and that's a problem. We don't have that patriotism. So it's something that has to be reinstilled into the population.
Agreed. What'd you do in Florida? So you went to Florida at 17.
Started my company.
What was your company?
I built. I was a carpenter. I started out drywall, and then I learned that trade, and I didn't like it. I like staring at walls all day. And then I started banging nails and swinging a hammer, and then I did slabs, tie beams, roofs, and then I said, oh, okay, I could do that. And then I started doing low rise, like garden apartments, 2, 3, 4-story buildings. And then I got into building 7, 8, 10, 20-story, 30-story buildings.
Your own company?
Oh, yeah. It was all my company. Oh, yeah.
What year was that?
I started when I was 17. So, I guess so. You think about it as 17, 57. So it was like in the 70s, I guess,
So are you still building at all?
No, not at all.
When did you get out of building?
I still own a real estate company, but I stopped building. When I built down there, it was production. We would build, 1,000 houses or 2,000 houses. It was not like they build here in Maine.
Well, I'm kind of curious about the regulations.
It was a piece of cake. Well, I'm a state licensed general contractor in Florida. I still maintain the license, so I don't let it go. I take the continuing education every 2 years. I know I'll probably never use it again, but I have a very low number. It's something I've had my whole life. I think I was 26 when I got my GC license. So I have a Class A general contractor's license, which means I could build anything: roads, bridges, high rises.
What was it like to get your license? What did you have to do?
Take a lot of time. You got to study and you got to learn.
Was it code enforcement type stuff?
It was more mathematics. Figuring out. How many cubic yards of concrete in a 30-story building?
Oh, no kidding.
It was all knowing that you understood. You had to forget everything you knew about the trades, but you had to learn how to basically account for things, right? And it was great. For me, it was a great move. At 26 years old, I had a Class A GC license. At that time, they were starting to really push licensing in the state of Florida. So I, wanted to make sure I was conforming. And as a result, because I had the license, I ended up getting bigger and bigger and bigger jobs. So there wasn't anything I couldn't build. I could build anything.
What's your opinion on licensing GCs in the state of Maine?
I don't have any problem with licensing. I'm not a big regulation guy, but when you hear the stories of people that are being taken advantage of by people who say they are with something and they're not, then that's a problem. Maine, I don't know. Look, this is only 1.4 million people. Hell, the population of Fort Lauderdale is more than that, right?
Yeah.
So down in Florida, we had a lot of transients. People coming in, the hurricane hit, they come in, they steal people's money. And, so licensing is, obviously, I think, needed there. I don't know about here. Look, but, you only got 1.4 million people. We can't even get people to work. I mean, so it's to do the work we need to do, it's really tough.
I go back and forth on it. I can understand. There's a code enforcement fella that works here in town, Auburn, and we've talked about it at great lengths, and he has good ideas on it, and it makes sense. But the problem is it'll drive the price for contractors up, and it's already becoming very difficult. It's very difficult. Wages right now, although high, the cost of living is higher, and you have, I don't know, is it's demand for housing, but the cost of housing and rents and apartments here in Maine is through the roof, but you're competing with the state. Section 8's paying between $2,300 and $2,600 a month.
Sure, yeah.
So, of course, a landlord's going to go to Section 8 first unless you can competitively, you could pay that.
Well, that's a different problem, right?
But it drives the cost of licensing would drive contractors' prices up. So if you're a homeowner and you're not capable of doing it, like everything here I did myself, I didn't hire anything out.
You're allowed to, yeah.
But if you were to do that, like this building alone would have been 150.
Sure. Oh, and it's down.
And I've got
it's a nice building.
I got 50.
Great man cave.
Yeah, it's not bad. Actually, it was supposed to be a man cave. Now it's turned into like a headquarters center.
Well, that's what you want. I mean, that's what a man cave is, right?
No, that's not what I wanted, but that's okay. It's a worthy cause.
Well, you're involved in politics, so I mean, yes. But the idea is you have a place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You got a place you can call your own. But like the building here in Maine is expensive. It's supply and demand, and regulations are a big problem. I think if we can get government out of the way and let people do their job, then we can have ignition, and then we got to attract the talent, and there's no volume. I mean, anybody builds here, they build one house, 2 houses, 5 houses, maybe if they're lucky, 20, 25 houses. But, that's not going to meet the supply needs here in the state of Maine. We've got to have
What do you think the supply needs are?
Well, it's through the roof. I mean, people are renting, and they're paying what they're paying in rent now for an apartment is a mortgage payment. Mm-hmm. So if you have the homes, then, younger people are leaving because they can't afford it. They can't buy a house. They can move away. They can buy a house someplace else. They can get better pay. We got to have a business-friendly atmosphere. We don't have it. It's I've been in business my whole life. For me, it's like you're constantly another 50-pound box of nails being thrown in the road in front of you. Every time you start doing something. So we just got to get government out of the way. And the regulations, I think, are the biggest problem, all in all, because it affects everything. And then your energy cost. Energy costs remains through the roof.
Commercial. So I work with a lot of commercial stuff, and now to do any changes, any alterations, you have to have a stamped, engineered plan to do any work. In Lewiston, as well as Auburn's pretty lenient.
What's wrong with that?
But that's $3,000 to $5,000 to put up a wall.
Well, look, what we did is we had architects, and they would design the plans, and the engineer would seal them. All right, and then that's what we would sit.
I'm me.
Right.
I don't have engineers.
I understand. But if you're building a home and people or property or a large project,
sure, okay, large project, I understand.
But people used to walk into the town hall in some of these small towns, and maybe still do. I don't know. Like if you have under, I think it's 4,500 people or 4,000 people in your town, you can elect whether you have inspections or not. And the only ones you're required to have are plumbing and electrical. Mm-hmm. All right. So in Florida, it's different. I mean, you're building 1,000 houses. Or if you're building 1,000 houses, you're going to put people and they're going to be living in them. You want to make sure that they're designed properly. And what we did is we would have on-site engineers and not wait for inspectors to show up. So the engineer was on the job, the whole time we were working. Then as we're pouring concrete or standing walls or setting trusses or sheathing or whatever phase we're at, they would inspect it right then and there.
So as a governor, home rule comes into play.
Sure.
And regulation, sure. Business, there's a lot of things you can do, but that home rule piece of it. So you
It's your
talk about
property. You should be able to build on your own property.
agreed. The whole ag zone.
Yeah.
There's a lot. But can you influence anything as a governor?
I most certainly. Yeah, you can influence with the DEP. There's, you can probably push to have a uniform code throughout the state, and because these people, they change, each town has their little fiefdom, right? And they're, and it's like, oh, you can't do this in this town, but you can do this in that town. And then they had these comprehensive plans that they did, I don't know, 20 years ago or whatever it was.
There's new ones coming out.
And well, they're. They just take and, oh, yeah, let's make this land over here that, and let's make this land over here that. Oh, yeah, it looks good on paper. But what about the unintended consequences of the property owner? The rights of the property owner are being trampled on. And most people don't even know these things are taking place. They're busy trying to keep, food on the table, gas in the car, and oil in the house, right? So, these things pass subversively, and then they're just... they're done. And then next thing you know, you go to do something, and what happens? Oh, I didn't know that. And the town, well, we passed that 2 months ago. We passed that 2 years ago. They're unsuspecting. And so, I think it's wrong. Town government, to me, is, it's out of control.
Did you catch Troy Jackson's plan for energy?
No.
I only caught a little bit of it this morning, but he's
that.
gonna increase how much energy is available in the state of Maine. He didn't.
Oh, with the 100 megawatt.
I don't think
cap.
he wanted to touch hydro. I think he wanted to. He didn't really specify. I can't say. I was trying to listen, but I was in the middle of 5 things. I wasn't sure if you caught it, and I was going to lead into what's your opinion on energy here? Because to me, that's one of the biggest driving factors for business is energy.
It's the
costs.
biggest factor.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
A small convenience store is paying $10,000 a month in electric bills for their coolers and standalones.
And who pays for it? The consumer.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to stay in business, they got to offset it in their costs of goods and services, right? So, I mean, they always say stuff runs downhill, right?
Oh, for sure.
Right. So with energy, we've got to really redesign what we have. It's an antiquated system. Our supply lines are off. Our infrastructure's bad. What we have in place is not good. We have to have small modular nuclear devices. I hate to use devices.
Fusion, fission, and then there's all kinds of new breakthroughs.
Small modular nuclear reactors, okay? I catch a bunch of flack when I say devices. But because it sounds like it has, it sounds like kaboom, right? But we need nuclear power. We need to bring the natural gas pipelines up here through Maine. We can't depend on one power source. And if we can get the natural gas into the state of Maine, we can change the world
and lift the cap on hydro, the green electricity
it's foolish
available.
To even do that. And then now they're talking about blowing up the dams.
Yeah, 4 of them.
4 of them, and they're going to put Sappi out of business, and that's about 5,000 jobs. I mean, it's bizarre they would even go there. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me. But
can you fact check me on this? So if I remember correctly, Sappi did a study. So they needed to be 96% efficient on how many fish made it beyond the dam going upstream.
Yeah.
And they changed it to 99%, which equated to 2 fish. So they're going to tear down the dam or not give the permit because of 2 fish.
What about people?
I know. What about them?
And what about the habitat that's formed around these dams already? I mean, they've been there for eons, right?
Right.
So here's they've been there, and we got a whole ecosystem going on there, and they're going to disrupt this for what? to get rid of 6% of the power clean supply. That's clean. That's clean.
Clean, yeah.
Right?
The cleanest
That's
energy
what they're
you can
all
get.
moaning and groaning about.
It's just the water spinning a wheel.
But yet they'll go ahead and they'll blow the top of a mountain off and put a damn windmill up there, where they'll go ahead and cut
Birds fly
hundreds of
into it.
acres of trees and put solar fields in, and then they don't have any way of disposing of either one of these because they have a lifetime, right? And it's somewhere between 15 and 20 years is what I'm told. All right, so what do you do with them afterwards?
You store them in Aroostook County.
No,
That's the rumor I heard.
yeah, I mean, put them back in containers and send them back to where they're made from. Will they take them?
No, China doesn't want them.
China won't take them. So, I mean, that should be one of the prerequisites. We have all these.
I am right?
96%
To 99%,
to 99%.
which equated to 2 fish.
I don't have the number on the quantity of fish, but your percentages are right.
So, yeah, not sure about the 2 fish, but the rest of it's accurate. They went from 96 to 99%.
Well, we got people making decisions, honestly, that don't know anything about life. All right.
Do you think there's a conspiracy? Because I do.
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I think that there's
I like a good conspiracy.
I don't like the word conspiracy. I'd say there's a purposeful motive and an MO for what they're doing.
Sure.
That they're trying to make Maine like California. All right.
Why?
Why? What have they got? We got a beautiful state.
They still haven't built in the Palisades. They're talking about making that a homeless encampment.
Yeah, well,
It comes back to permitting.
well, why do we have homeless?
Yeah, it's a business.
Why do we have homeless? Right?
It's a business.
Well, it's just not right. I mean, and a lot of them, they're seasonal homeless. Right? As soon as it gets cold, they're gone. They go to the next state that's a little bit warmer. I have friends that work in the city of Portland, and they said, well, it's the funniest thing when we get there early in the morning. We're setting up, we're sitting in our trucks, and people are getting out of their Volvos, putting on fake casts, putting on arm casts, and then walking on a walker and then standing there with a sign. They stand there all day. They make whatever money they make. Then they go back to their car, and it's a Volvo, nice car, and then they take off their costumes, is basically what they are, and then they, get in the car and drive away. Now, look, I'm not saying that's all of them, but there's enough actors here that they know they can make a lot of money just by standing on the street. Now and then the ones that really get it aren't getting it. We've got a real problem with mental illness here in the state of Maine
And drug addiction.
Right? We don't we just don't have the facility in place to put them. The county correction centers are acting as mental hospitals. And it's a problem. I mean, David and I have been to 7 of the 13 correction centers in the state of Maine.
7 out of 13.
7, yeah. I hope to go to them all, right? But you and see, but the problem's the same. It becomes almost repetitive or redundant. But it's good to see physically what's going on. I'm a big advocate for sheriffs. I think the sheriffs are, I like him. One of my best friends was Barry DeLong, and he educated me a lot on what goes on with, running the correction centers, servicing the jails, the 911 calls, hiring officers, and correction, and everything he ever told me turns out to be true. So everywhere we go, they're underperforming because they don't have the ability to house, because they can't house because they can't hire the correction officers. So we have these beautiful jails where entire wings are not working because we can't get the people to work there.
Why can't they get the people?
It's money, and so. We've driven up the wage so much and the dollars for it so little, comparatively speaking. Like when I was a kid, if I had a quarter, and this is crazy, it really makes me sound old, but if I had a quarter, and it wasn't that long ago, right? But I could go up to the sweet shop. I could go see we had a soda jerk, right? Whitey, he was the only black guy in town, but his name was Whitey. And I'd give him a nickel. He'd make me a cream soda, give us a couple extra shots of the syrup inside the soda, and then I could buy 2 candy bars at 5 cents a piece, and I had 10 cents left over to play pinball, and I was a good pinball player, so I could play, better part of a half a day before I got knocked out. So, 25 cents today is like, what would that cost you?
I know.
Now, let's think about that. So I paid 25 cents.
So for the drink, you're talking $10, $15, $12.
For a drink, it's $2
$8 to $12.
$2. No, I'm talking just a soda, right?
But a fountain soda.
Yeah, well, if you could
Well,
find.
no, I was thinking a mixed beverage. I was thinking Starbucks.
Like, so you
A latte grande.
Yeah, no,
Nothing like that.
No, this is just a soda, right?
Okay, just a soda.
Cream soda I used to get. And so if you bought a cream soda today, it's got to be, what, $2?
Okay.
Say
Yeah.
that's $2. And then you want to buy a candy bar. How much is that?
It's $3.50.
All right, and you got 2 of them.
All right. So
and
there's
then
$7.
and they're half the size of what they were when I was a kid.
Mm.
All right, and then to play a game of pinball is $1. All right, so and if you're not that good, say you can spend $15
Yeah.
just to go to it's for what I spent a quarter. And so the dollar's just not worth it. So the wages people are getting paid are not commensurate to what is necessary to live the life that we should be living. So we got to really get the energy costs under control because we're paying for these solar fields and these windmills that we don't get really any benefit from, as far as I know. That's worth measuring. I think it's like maybe 3% of the power that we use here in Maine.
I think total,
Right?
all combined on a good
and so,
day.
what are we getting as Mainers to pay for this? We've paid for all this infrastructure costs, getting supply lines down off the mountains. They've blown up these mountains. They've cut these fields down. What happened to these tree huggers that were there?
I know.
Tying themselves
What
to
about
trees?
the natural beauty, the
Well, yeah.
wildlife?
Well, I remember when people would literally tie themselves to the tree
I remember
to
that
stop
too.
them from cutting, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're gone. MIA. But, we can put solar fields. It's okay if we're putting solar fields in there.
Makes no
And
sense.
it makes, and they really don't, I honestly don't think they understand.
Well, here's one that boggles my mind, and I'm not looking for any kind of maybe a reaction, but so not far from here, they used to dump the sludge, and it's full of the PFAs.
PSA, yeah.
PSA, PFA.
PFAs.
PFAS.
Yeah, PFAS.
So it's full of the PFAS on one side, and on the other side of the field, they decided to put, with good land, they decided to put solar panels, and they covered, I don't know how many acres, 10 acres
Yeah.
of field.
You should see
And
the
on
one
the other side is the PFAS
Yeah.
that's still barren land sitting there.
Yeah.
I'm like, kind of made a bad decision here.
Well, I think they made a lot of bad decisions. Up in Leeds, there's a solar field. It's the largest one I've ever seen in Maine. That's visible from the road, and then they put them alongside our highways.
Where in Leeds?
It's right in the center part of Leeds.
Huh.
It's huge.
I don't travel
It's
much.
massive.
You got me curious, yeah.
I couldn't. Yeah, you can't believe how big it. It might be something online, an aerial. I don't know. But so I went through that town. I couldn't believe what I saw. You drive up to Augusta, and they got them all in the.
I know. I was shocked when I saw
I
that.
couldn't believe it. And then over in Gray, they have what's called Wilderness Highway.
Yep.
There's no wilderness there. It's all solar fields, all solar panels.
Well, over here they used to wings. They used to have beefalo over here on the farm, and there was always this big
Until
beautiful.
they started running away.
There used to be this big beautiful field out back.
Yeah.
And it's all solar fields.
Yeah, yeah. I love buffalo. I mean, they're beautiful animals. Prehistoric.
Well, I don't know if this is true. Maybe I can get fact checked on this one. That beefalo is a fallacy. There's no such a thing. That buffalo and cows never mated and made a beefalo.
Yeah, I don't know.
What are the Scottish? The Highland hairy cow there. What the heck is that called? That's what it is, I guess.
Oh, that long.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Highland
That,
cow.
yeah, that Highland cow.
Yeah.
And so they just called them beefalo because they were hairy.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking from Scotland.
The silly things that stick in your head.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were a Rand Paul guy.
Oh yeah, I was involved. These guys, it was David Boyer, Eric Brakey, Alex Titcomb, Ashley, forget it. Yeah, and then Brent Tweed.
I'm sorry, Ron Paul.
Yeah, my son John Jones, John Logan, he was involved. There was a handful of people.
Your son, John Jones.
Yeah,
How do I know that name?
he's been around.
Okay. Probably heard
He's
it.
the Ron Pauler.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been around forever.
Vocal?
He's strategic. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. He ran for office in Falmouth one year when he got out of the Air Force, and then got a bad taste in his mouth and said, I don't want to do it. But he's been pretty vocal lately. Yeah.
So just a little bit about me. I retired from the Army 2014,
Yeah.
and I just hid from the world. I stayed
Of course.
here and just worked.
What did you do in the Army?
I was a grunt.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Where'd you go?
Oh, Afghanistan, Iraq, all over. Yeah.
John was there.
Yeah.
He was Air Force intelligence, so he was airborne encrypted linguist.
No
So,
kidding.
Yeah,
Encrypted linguist.
yeah. He learned how to speak Pashto.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he learned a whole new alphabet, and he would listen to where they are when there was. And
That was the part that caught my ears there. Encrypted.
yeah, well,
language.
he could list and he could encrypt and decrypt Pashto, so he could translate, and then he would call. They actually, from the way I understand it works, is they would fly these 18 to 24-hour long missions, and they would fly in these areas, and they knew where Osama bin Laden was for a very long.
Oh, yeah.
But then he would report directly to the Pentagon, and then the Pentagon would tell everybody, "Hey, this is how you do it." And then boom, I guess it would go down to Tampa to the, and then they would call it out, and then boom. Yeah, pretty interesting.
2010, I was in Don Juan Patton, which is just outside of Parachinar, which is just north of where Osama bin Laden was.
Yeah.
And I was doing company level intelligence at the time. And it wasn't a big secret. You had all these agencies that you've never heard of or wouldn't tell you where they were from.
Sure, yeah.
So obviously there was a high value something somewhere.
Right.
And yeah, there was a lot of attention in that area. And that was 2010. So pretty.
They knew for a long time.
Oh, for sure.
They just had to figure out how or when to take them out.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah,
good riddance. Bad
Yeah.
rubbish.
Well, look, all those people that they anyone will take the life of anybody, whether it's American or any other country, innocent people that are unarmed.
Yeah, that's the key phrase. Innocent people.
There's something wrong with them. Making a statement. No, I'm sorry. I have zero pity on that.
No.
If you want to harm another human being, and they're just standing there living their life, what the hell? What honor is there in that?
Agreed.
But I'm an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, Old Testament guy. When it comes to that, I think you hurt me. Then, gloves are off. We're going to go.
So you went from the Ron Paul campaign to.
Well, I've been a Republican since I was a kid, right? 18 years
I got
old.
it from my grandfather.
Yeah. So I mean,
World War II guy.
yeah, I mean, I was always a Republican. I think it's in my blood.
But when did you become active? It was with the.
Well, I've been active
before that.
Let's see. I guess maybe 2004. I guess 2004, 2005. I got pretty active.
What was going on in 2004, 2005? I'm trying to.
Well, John Baldacci was running for governor for a second term, right? And
Oh yeah.
I wanted to stop him, right? I like John. Now I've become friends with John. He's actually more conservative than you would ever imagine him having been, but he really is.
Well, the Democrat of 1999 is the conservative of
the
today.
Republican of today, yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it?
John F. Kennedy could never get the nomination today.
A libertarian running as a Republican was
Yeah.
unheard of back then.
Well, you look at Donald J. Trump. I mean, I'm a big fan of Trump. I mean, I've been with Trump since before he came down the escalator. So I've created a super PAC in 2016 called Making Maine Great Again. That was my PAC. And, I chaired it, and we raised a bunch of money, and we worked our tails off. I got a bunch of fellow Republicans to help me with signage. I bought, 7,500 signs of my own, and we plastered the streets. It was all over national news what I did.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. And we came 22,000 votes away from turning Maine red. We can do it again in 26 if we work as hard.
If you caught my attention, that means you lifted the rock. So if I remember that. I don't remember you, and I apologize, but I remember that whole super
I wasn't
PAC.
out there for glory. I was out there to win. It's for me. It's what it was all about. We had to win, and if we didn't win, then what the hell would be the point of?
Yeah, agreed.
1 second. I just need to turn this.
Here,
thing
let
off.
me do.
I'm just going to turn it off.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
So then, after the super PAC, did you run for governor before?
Well, I ran for governor in 2005 to stop Peter Mills from getting to be governor.
Gotcha.
He was running for Republican. I had this thing about. I used to live in Bingham, Maine.
Yep.
Right? And he was a state senator at the time, and he wouldn't do anything for the people up there. Right? And I was, living it, breathing it. I saw what was going on. 72, 73% low to moderate income. No jobs. Just everybody on some kind of government aid, and it was just becoming a way of life. And I thought, well, what can? And then Peter Mills decided he was going to run. I said, all right, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. No, and that's the way it goes. I just didn't agree with what he was not doing. All right, so and I've ever since then, I started doing the show with Ray Richardson.
Yeah.
And I've been on ever since. And it was just. Yeah.
So it's such a small world. It's so funny. I worked for a little Irish guy. His name was Joe Maycumber. I was a high-rise window cleaner, mid-rise, high-rise window cleaner.
Oh, that's a tough
And he was an
job.
angry Irish guy. I loved him, and he was a great father figure to me. He taught me a lot.
Where was this at?
Out of Augusta, Maine.
Yeah.
And we used to travel down to Massachusetts all the way down to Maryland and back up through, and listen to talk radio a lot. And so he kind of reminded me of my grandfather. My grandfather was a staunch Republican.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Ray Richardson, I came across him with Joe Maycumber. I remember. So it brought back nostalgic memories listening to Ray to this day when I put him on.
Is that relationship to Randy Maycumber?
I wouldn't know.
Shark King?
No, I don't think so. Maybe,
He's in West
possibly.
Gardner. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Same general area. Very well could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, good people.
Probably. You can't be too many Maycombers in the world.
No, he
It's not
took,
like Jones.
no, not like Jones. No, or Muhammad in the world.
Yeah.
I guess
Abdullah.
Abdullah.
Yeah.
So came home from Iraq, Afghanistan, and just full disclosure, was part of the Maine Army National Guard, 3rd and 172nd Bravo
appreciate your
Company out of
service.
Brewer. Thank the wife and kids. I volunteered; they didn't, and dying's easy, living's hard.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine what that must have been like when things were quiet. They were never quiet for me. For them, it was quiet, and they had to wonder where I was. Right?
Oh yeah. Well, when my son was stationed over there,
It's harder on you.
constantly thinking about what's happened. You see something going down over there, and you know where he's at. We knew he was there, but fortunately, he was fine. And he came home. Now he's got 3 beautiful kids.
Good fam.
Yeah.
Is he going to follow in the old man's footsteps?
Well, yeah, you never know with John. He's pretty freaking smart, man. I'm telling you what. So we'll see. Maybe he's smarter than me, and we won't do what I do. But he's very capable. Very capable.
So what's next on the agenda?
For
Your governor race. What big events
look,
you got
we're out
coming?
there now. I mean, we travel all over the state, top to bottom, meeting people, talking to Republican committees, going to events and discussing topics. As you noticed, I don't use scripts. I don't sit there and have a book in front of me that's tabbed out like some of these other guys. I just talk, and I figure if it's not in your head and it's not in your heart, then you probably shouldn't be up there.
Do you ever afterwards go, geez, I wish I had said?
Look, there's always, it comes to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, with the radio show, we don't script that either.
Right.
So, we get up in the morning, we walk in, and I'm sitting there, and what are we going to talk about? He's like, well, we'll see when we turn the mics on, just like we're doing today. All right, so and then it comes out. But, the topics are there. We know there's a lot to talk about, a lot to be done. And so when they ask you a question and you're in a debate, you just, go with the flow. Whatever you're feeling. I think it's all what you're feeling. Now, like there's, I don't usually have regrets because most of the time I don't remember what I say. Right? It just comes out, right? Because you're talking about something you know about.
Yeah.
Do you remember every conversation you have?
I
No.
do. I do.
No, do you really?
I do. I replay them in my head. I might be a little nutty.
Yeah. Well, I don't replay. I have to watch the video. All right.
Okay, fair
and so I want to see the video of what I said, and just see whether it came out the way I intended. And mostly, I mean, I haven't had any regrets so far.
Well, I got to say, Mr. Jones, sir, you have my support, and I really appreciate everything you're doing and what you've done.
Yeah.
And I look forward to working with you in the future.
Well, I appreciate your service. Appreciate what you're doing here. I think it's important that you do these kind of things to let people find out who we are. There's enough candidates in here in this field now that you've got a variety to pick from, but you really got to do your homework. Because I think, a lot of masking going on. Now I'm not talking about the mask that cover your mouth. So you got to really dig deep, and you got to look into who they are, what they stand for, what they believe in, where they've been and where they want to go. It's really, really, I'll tell you something pretty good at, not being what they actually, not showing what they actually are. So you just got to really dig deep. I've met all the Dems. I've met all the Republicans. I know the ones that are thinking about getting in. Let them come in.
What are the names? What do you got?
What?
I know a couple of them.
Yeah.
What do you know that I don't know?
I don't. Well, like Sergeant Schultz says, I know nothing.
I see nothing.
I see nothing. But it's there's a few guys who are going to get in, and if they do, fine. I don't care. I really don't. Look, and I've said this from the beginning. If I become the next governor of the state of Maine, great. I've given it, and if I don't, I've given it my best. And if there's somebody better, so be it. I mean, and I've told this to other candidates, all the candidates. I said, look, if I thought you were better than me, I would get out of this tomorrow. But I don't see it.
There's some serious talent.
Yeah,
I'm impressed.
there's talent, but can they run the state? Do they actually understand? The state of Maine. Do they know what we need or what we're missing? What needs to be done?
Have you? So you must be familiar with how it all works, right? Behind the scenes, how the sausage is pressed?
enough to, yeah.
So, how much of it is like you have, and I've been asked this before with legislative body, right? How much of it is actually your decision? How much of it isn't? So, as a governor, how much influence do you have? How much of a staff do you have that influences your decisions? How does that all work?
Well, you got to have really good people around you. One of my talents has always been, I'm not afraid of talent. I'm not afraid of someone being smarter than me. I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I'm smart enough to smell dead fish when it's there, right? And
Yeah,
know a
that's an Abe Lincoln thing.
Yeah, be a good plan from a bad plan. But then we really got to have the House and we got to have the Senate. I could have all the greatest ideas in the world. I could have the greatest people around me, all right? But if we don't have the control of the House and Senate, then I got to go out hat in hand. And I might be okay at that. Just because I really don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an unenrolled if you have a good idea. If it benefits the people of the state of Maine, then I'm going to listen to it, all right? So, I think it's really going to depend a lot on who we have in the House, who we have in the Senate. And we get me as governor, then I'm great at bringing people together. I always tell people I'm a deal maker, not a deal breaker. And so that's the way I roll.
How do you think our odds are as far as getting the House?
I think we're going to take the House. Yeah.
What are we, 3, 4?
We were 3 seats away. We lost it by less than 100 votes.
And what are we in the Senate?
I think we're 3 there, too.
Yeah, I think it's pretty small.
Yeah. So, and there's some good people running, and hopefully we can, bridge that gap. It would be amazing. Like if I had to control the House and I had to control the Senate, and then we had, David Jones as governor, we can do what needs to be done.
Wouldn't it be nice to see some change?
Well, we had it in 2010.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it didn't go down.
I wasn't paying attention in 2010. What exactly happened? How did it go south?
Paul LePage's a great guy, and he had his issues with different people within the different bodies of government, and it was not able to bridge that gap. And he got about 40% done of what he could have got done. And what happens is Republicans are so not used to having control that when they got control, they didn't know what to do with it. The Democrats, on the other hand, look what they've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
They're like a steamroller.
For sure.
It's like that song by James Taylor, I'm a steamroller, babe. I'm going to roll all over you.
Yeah.
But that's what they do. I mean, they just don't care, and they just disregard and get their agenda through. So, we were fortunate enough to, God willing, to get the House, the Senate, and the governorship, then we got to work together. And, I'll do my best to work with people from the other side that are sensible. I just find that so many of the Democrats that I talk to today just shut down when you ask them a question. They don't want to answer you. So it's, it's unfortunate we're at that point, but we have to have a relationship.
What do you think the biggest issues are for the Republicans, why they can't get elected?
Well, I don't know. It's that they can't they don't work hard, all right? I mean, running for office takes a lot of work.
Yes, it does.
All right, and especially a local office for a House or Senate. I mean, if you don't if you don't knock on the doors and you don't pay your dues, then you're not going to win.
Right.
All right, because guess what? The Democrats are going to be out there blanketing the area, and then they're going to be the familiar face and familiar name on the ballot, and then they're going to win. So if we can get Republicans to vote in mass, like I've been pushing on question 1 and question 2, all right, and then if we can get them to work and really want to win that job, that's another thing. And so then you got to get a good speaker when that happens. You got to have a good speaker of the House, all right, and you got a good Senate Majority Leader. So you got to have, people that really are able to bridge that gap and not fight. Look, Republicans have great ideas, all right? They all think that their idea is the greatest. And,
Yep.
and so you got to get past that, and you got to leave your ego at the door, and you've got to say, all right, look, we got 7 out of 10 things we need to get done now. And then we got 3 out of the other 3 things. We'll come back to them, but let's get these 7 out of 10 things that we all agree on done now, and then we'll work on the other 3.
And as a Republican, you've got the whole media machine working against you. You've got all the schools working against you, with the exception of few.
Well, we flipped out a couple of those here recently.
School board?
Yeah, school boards. I mean, there's we're 7 of them now that have been flipped. And this Charlie Kirk thing too is what's happened with Charlie has really put a lot of wind in the sails for conservative values. And Jesus being brought back into the limelight, and it's really kind of nice to see the people have faith again. Yeah, a lot of people don't have faith.
Agreed.
It's what's that song by Wham? Got to have faith, faith, faith.
George Michael.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, it's so a great song. But you got to have faith, and if you don't have, I look at things that are successful and things that are not successful. Where there is no faith, they're usually not successful. Mm-hmm. If there is faith, if it is faith-based, they win. And so, whatever that reason is, we have to work on it. We've got to make sure that we have that glue. That's the glue, I think, that keeps people together. You got to have the traditional values. You got to have faith, and you got to love your family. Right? All right, and if you believe in the United States Constitution, I don't know what happened in that room when they created that 250 years ago, but they created something that's timeless, and we're here today to live it, and to spat upon it and disregard it, kind of ticks me off. It's just not right.
It's crazy. I remember learning about that. They were sitting in that little hall in Pennsylvania, sweating bullets in the middle of summer, writing that and yelling at each other.
Yeah.
It's a republic, ma'am, if you can keep it.
Yeah, well, that's Benjamin Franklin, I think.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Once people realize they can vote themselves free, things, the republic as we know it will be no more. So, I mean, you've really got to look at what we have. We have, I think, the greatest experiment of all time, 250 years of being what we are. We have a group of people. We can call it socialist. You can call it communist. I don't care. It's communism. Socialism is the first step to communism, and communism works as long as until you run out of other people's money, and you're going to, because there's no motivation, no incentive to live, to work. I spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe when they had the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia, and I witnessed what was going on. But these people, I saw them transform from socialist, communists to capitalists, and they were the best capitalists in the world. The Russians,
because they knew what the other side was.
Yeah,
like.
they saw it's like a dog nipping at your heels, right?
Yep.
So you see the Russians when they come here from Russia and they work in the United States.
The Cubans.
They're Cubans. Oh, you take any
most patriotic.
Any. I don't care where you're from. China. If you love America, it's funny because in America, you can live in China your entire life, but you're never going to be Chinese. You can live in Japan your entire life. You're never going to be Japanese. You can go to Russia. You'll never be Russian. But you come here from anywhere in the world. You respect our Constitution. You live your life, and what do you end up with? You're being American.
Yep.
All right. And being of Italian descent, I can tell you that was really something that my grandfather respected. When you're giving the oath for citizenship in 135 different languages, we've lost our way.
I agreed.
We've lost our way.
Yeah.
English is our bond. People say, well, what makes America work? It's our ability to communicate. And when you got people that come here and they're immigrating to our country, but they're not assimilating, that's an invasion.
You're expected to assimilate to them,
Which
and
is
that's
wrong.
I agree.
We're an American, and you want to be an American, fine. If not, go back to where you're from. I don't care. I mean, that's the bottom line for me. Go back to where you came from. If you're not going to speak my language,
Well,
and
let's
I
try.
can't, or
You
listen,
try.
when I travel, I've traveled all over the world, and when I travel,
And respect our laws.
I try and learn how to say thank you, goodbye, please, just the courtesies, And so I don't speak other languages, but I do know how to say all those words in many different tongues, right? But when I do it, it made them that much more willing to want to help me because obviously I was disadvantaged because I didn't speak their language. Whether it's in Russia or was in Czechoslovakia, which is now Czech Republic, and Slovakia or Croatia. I mean, it was always the same.
Croatia's beautiful.
I love Croatia. It's a beautiful country. I was in Zagreb during the whole thing. It was the weirdest thing because during the day, you'd have lunch with them, and at night, they try and kill each other. They had this thing called the blood revenge, right? It's crazy. You killed my brother 200 years ago. I'm going to come back and kill you, right? But it was just, it's perpetual.
And the history over there is so amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
I was at St. John the Baptist, a church where they buried, where was it, Montenegro? There's a church on top of this big cliff, and, like it had this little door. It was only like maybe 4.5 feet tall, but St. John the Baptist's hand, because they dismembered him way back when.
Yeah.
And his hand was in that church somewhere. At least that was what I was told.
Right, yeah.
But to think that the history there was over 2,000 years versus...
Was that Medjugorje you're thinking of?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I just remember you look down.
Well, they
there's
had the
Adriatic.
statue of the bleeding
There was a statue somewhere nearby.
of Mother Mary, and it bleeds.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, but I was a drunk, right? And I was traveling the globe, and
Get
what I
good
was
beer
doing?
over there.
Oh, for sure.
I was in Munich. I loved Munich. I had a great time. There's a big giant beer hall right in the center of Munich, and you get beer and bratwurst. If you don't drink, it's amazing because they, get the beer is so good. It's
I know.
Pilsner.
Wheat.
Pilsner Urquell was my favorite Czech beer from Pilsen. But when you go into a bar, I mean, you could literally take a knife and cut cubes of smoke because but then the bar, and then they're pouring the beer, and they got that stick that just wipes the head off the top, and they got this giant pile of head that's just going away. That's beer. And you drink 2 or 3 of them, you're feeling pretty good.
What a good life.
Yeah.
All right, I'm being told to wrap it up, so here we are.
All right, always
Mr.
good.
Jones, one more time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time and spending it with me. And again, you have my support. David Jones for governor.
Well, thank you very much. And you want to find out more about me, go to jones2026.com or give me a call anytime, 207-650-3455.
I'll keep that in mind. Thanks.